Garland in the corner. He's got it.
Feed stand. Powell with the running in.
Mitchell shakes up to the basket and thunders it home. Oh! Mobley throws it down.
And Allen blocked the shot at the rim.
Welcome to the Chase Down Podcast, part of the Cavs media family. I'm your host, Justin Rowan. The Chase Down is presented by Fubo, the official streaming partner of the Cavs. Watch over 350 channels of live sports and TV, including FanDuel Sports Network without cable. There's no cost and no commitment. Try for free at FuboTV.com/Cavs. The Cleveland Cavaliers got a win over the Indiana Pacers, the shorthanded Pacers, in a much, much better effort, but weren't able to sustain that improved effort against the Portland Trailblazers. Good start to the game. Fell off a little bit in the middle, and joining me today to discuss all of that is my co-host Carter Rodriguez. Carter, how you doing, buddy?
I'm disappointed, Justin. I'm not terribly worked up after that loss, which I think is probably a bad thing. On balance, like you kind of want to be worked up after a loss like that. It's their second loss to a team coming off a back-to-back when the Cavs didn't play the night before in a row, both of them at home.
Both of them in these last three games.
And that's really, really, really bad. And these are and not against powerhouse teams either. That Boston team is above average. This Portland team is well below average. And both teams were sitting some of their best players due to injury or rest. And there's stuff to point at as we know, but like we spend a lot of time talking about how, when the Cavs are playing their fourth and fifth night or the second half of a road back to back and shorthanded, that, we are like the kings of context. Well, like there's not much to contextualize here when the other team is in, a considerably worse situation than you. These are games you're supposed to win. These are the kind of games that Vegas shades the line towards the home team with rest. And the fact that they didn't is, there's a lot to point out. There's a lot, and we're going to dive in. But it is just kind of going. I think I said this on the last podcast. It just kind of feels like this kind of might just be the story of this first half of the year. Because they just haven't consistently been able to find it. Even within this game, they had huge stretches where they played really, really well. They were just marred by sections where they played as inversely poorly.
Yeah, and we talked about it on the last podcast, but this isn't a team that's shown that they can necessarily flip a switch, right? And I thought the effort against the Pacers was really, really strong. Like I thought they came out there with the right mindset. They were attacking from the jump. I thought the effort on both ends of the floor was great. Donovan was obviously terrific. Jalen Tyson was amazing. We'll get into those two in more detail. But I thought the first quarter against Portland was a continuation of that. I thought their process was really, really good offensively.
Agreed.
I thought they were getting to the basket. I thought they were getting quality shots. The defensive intensity from that starting unit was there, man. Like they were locked in. All of them were contributing. Donovan Clingan is a beast to keep off the boards. Like that is such a large man. But you would have guys, come in and try to disrupt his rhythm. DeAndre Hunter flew in multiple times to assist Mobley in securing those boards. There was a time where Darius got a hand on the ball and knocked it out so that they were able to secure the rebound, right? They were doing what they needed to do collectively. And then it felt like in the second quarter, even though the process offensively stayed pretty good overall, they weren't hitting shots, and I thought they let that impact every other phase of the game. I thought
Kenny agreed, by the way.
I'm not surprised. Like I thought it was very evident. I thought the shots weren't falling, and then the effort started to fall off. The defensive focus wasn't at the same level, and what we talked about before, where they need to kind of dedicate this next quarter of the season to improving the effort and ramping it back up. This isn't a team that can flip the switch. This might be more like, turning a big tanker ship around where it needs to take some time. But the key to that is it needs to keep turning in the same direction, right? Like if it's going to take some time to turn this ship around, they're going to have to consistently stay at it, right?
And they didn't do that tonight.
and they didn't do that tonight, right? And it's how they respond to that. Do they continue to try to, hey, we had 2 quarters that we felt good about our effort. Let's try to ramp it up and get at least 3 solid quarters and maybe 1 okay quarter and not a disastrous quarter. Like, you kind of have to take those baby steps here. But for the present, you can't take any game for granted.
Yeah, no, you can't. And again, there's stuff you like to see, but I mean, I really do want to. The Cavs lost this game in 2 ways. They couldn't contain ball pressure at all at the point of attack on defense. I mean, it is
a bad defensive game. One, for the guards, I thought they stood out. Both of them. Donovan's expending so much energy on the offensive end that I'm not surprised that the defense isn't there. And Darius, I thought Darius was one of those culprits of his shots not falling and the defensive intensity wasn't where it needed to be. Other culprits for sure. Jalen Tyson had bad possessions up and down the roster. They
I don't think Dean had a great night guarding either.
No, but we hold the guards to
Lonzo as well,
standard.
By the way.
Yeah, we hold the guards to a higher standard, so that's why I wanted to at least interject and bring up that I thought both of them had a very poor defensive game.
Yeah, so really bad at the point of attack defensively, and to some extent, with that, I don't really know what to talk about other than they have to work harder to stay in front of guys. I know that they don't have the best point of attack defense personnel, but there's teams that are doing a better job than them guarding the ball with worse personnel for it. So I think that's got to be, it's hard for me to analyze it other than do better. But and then
do
on
better matters, do better is analysis.
On the offensive end, though, I got to tell you, the shot making is a problem right now. We know that the Cavs 3-point percentage is below the 50th percentile in the league right now. After they were won by a country mile last year, and I think a big part of it, obviously, they're missing guys that shoot well, and the guys that they have that shoot well currently aren't. Darius Garland goes 1 for 8 from 3 in this game. He's not shooting well to start the season. DeAndre Hunter, who has shot okay to start the season, he's 6 of 21. That's 28% in his last 4 games. Dean Wade, who has always been a streaky shooter, it's been a real step back this year. He was at 28%, I believe, going into this game. He was 0 of 3 tonight. It's been 10 games since Dean has made more than 1 3 in a game.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, I literally was game log counting, so I might have miscounted by 1 here or there, but that, they just don't have players that are reliably hitting they're not generating open threes at the same level they did, but when they are generating them, they're not making them. And then, and Lonzo really is probably the worst culprit of this. In his he was at 28%, I believe, coming into this game. He is 7 of 40 from 3 in his last 6 games.
Yeah, it's tough, man.
So, if no one's able to shoot, and this isn't really a team that's going to just bludgeon people at the rim, certainly not without Jarrett there to create that downward pressure. So it's really just Donnie Superman plays, Darius when he is right, which he's clearly not right and not playing well. The FanDuel postgame show, he was literally over their shoulder on the court practicing jumpers or a postgame because clearly he's so frustrated. And then it's the Evan Duckins. That's your rim pressure. So it's just hard to see a road. I don't see you can say Lonzo stopped shooting, which I do think he probably needs to dial it back. Transition threes, you're not allowed to take them if you're under 30% right now.
Yeah, if the ball swings to you in the half court and you're open, take the catch and shoot, because if you pass that up, it's just going to kill the offense. But the transition ones have to go, right? And in Darius's case, the unfortunate thing is the 3-pointer was actually the one part of his game that kind of was still there, right? Like he was shooting 39% from three coming into this game. Obviously, the 1 for 8 tonight, just terrible shooting night. And I thought he lost confidence. There was the 1 3-pointer he took in the third quarter where his feet weren't set and he kind of scissor kicked it as he took it from a little too deep. Was very clearly frustrated with what I thought were very obvious fouls in the second quarter where he kind of got drilled on back-to-back possessions. But again, you can't let that kind of stuff get to you, right? Like you have to maintain your composure. But the tough thing is when Hunter's not shooting well and he's going 0 for 3, Dean's in a slump like this, and then you go to someone like Naquan Tomlin who's bringing in a lot of energy and I thought was once again helpful, but you don't have defenses respecting him in that way, particularly when Naquan's out there with Lonzo. That's just not a lot of shooting gravity. And on a night like tonight where I thought the Cavs really missed Jared Allen and the defense really fell off when Evan Mobley wasn't out there on the court, when you kind of have those Darius lineups where it's DG out there with Lonzo, Dean, and Hunter, and none of them are hitting threes, and Darius isn't hitting threes, it's just really
like
hard
what
to
are you
play.
bringing? Like, right? Like
you don't have a rim rolling guy there, right? So it's you're really out of options, and it's tough to play cohesive basketball at that point.
Yeah, it's you just don't really. There's not a lot of juice right now. So again, there's ways around it. But like the real answer is this team can't have DeAndre Hunter score 10 points on 9 field goal attempts. This team can't have Darius Garland score 6 points on 13 field goal attempts because the offense can't function without those guys being 15 to 25 point scorers on a night-to-night basis, because Evan gave you what you needed. You had 23 points on 14 shots for him. Donovan didn't have an amazing game, but 33 on 26, like that should be enough.
Yeah, Donovan was.
I think he was pressing because he felt like he had to.
Yeah, this has been an affliction of this team throughout the year where we don't have a lot of guys that have put together just a great game start to finish. Donovan certainly did against the Pacers, but a good quarter is not a guarantee that it's going to continue for the rest of the game, right? Like I thought Donovan started the game tremendously. I thought it fell off a little bit. I thought the third quarter in particular was pretty tough for him. But just again, it's understandable, right? Like anytime that you're put in a situation where you're being asked to do a little bit too much, there is going to be a drop off at some point. And I think this team is collectively dealing with that, where they're navigating a whole lot of things with, whether it's guys being unavailable or when they are available, they're working their way back. So they're not at 100%. You have guys up and down the roster that have been asked to do too much, and you can just kind of tell the mental wear and tear here. And that's something that can, that can be a break of your season, right? Where, hey, this is something that we've seen with this group that they need to get better doing. Or it can be something that, hey, we struggled with this. This is something we've been struggling with for years. And the situation that we were put in this year really tested us, but we came out on the other side a little mentally tougher than we were coming in. It's all about how you respond to it. It's not fun to watch as a fan, but it's ultimately it's one of those tests that they're either going to pass or fail at the end of the day.
Yeah, I say it a lot on this podcast that a team's culture is not derived from when things are going well. It is derived from how they respond when things are not going well. And I think, based on what Kenny said today, he said, hey, he saw them slumping their shoulders in the second. I think the direct quote was like, we lost our spirit a little bit in that quarter. And like, if I'm misquoting, I'm really, really sorry.
No, you're right. I'm pretty sure I heard that.
And like, if I really believe that a team's culture is tested under adversity, tonight was not a pass of that test, and I don't know if this season has been a pass because they have not consistently been able to generate that spirit, and maybe
but at the same time, you're not really tested if you are able to easily kind of pass, right? Like when adversity hits and I managed to we had a bad game, bounce back from it. That's not really learning from adversity. That's not really being tested. They're being tested like crazy right now. And ultimately, I believe in the infrastructure of this group. I believe in the leadership at the top end of the roster. I believe in the leadership of Kenny Atkinson. I think that they can turn this around.
Me too.
I think they have everything in place and the infrastructure in place to be successful. And we know how important that is, Carter, because we have strong infrastructure with things like Zoom Workplace, because teams move fastest when everyone's in sync. Zoom Workplace keeps meetings, chats, documents, and more together so your work flows like a perfect play. Keep work moving and zoom ahead with Zoom Workplace.
Brother, you caught me off guard with that one. Well done.
Thank you.
I did want to say, like, I agree with you. I do believe in these guys. They have shown this before. Like, I think a bad playoff series against, the Knicks, a bad end to the Pacers series, has given people the impression that these guys just are not resilient at all or not mentally strong. Mm-hmm. And like, sure, there have been times where that's been the case, but I also have seen these guys fight their way back through injuries and through dips. They've had plenty. They've had plenty of dips these past 4 or 5 years.
Honestly, I will still say the effort that I saw from those guys in Game 5 against the Pacers, that won me over in a big way. Like, I thought Darius was playing his ass off through injury. I thought Donovan dealing with the calf strain. Like, you could tell they were giving absolutely everything that they had in that game, and they just didn't have it.
Yeah, sometimes you lose just because you didn't have enough. And like, I think there's plenty of times that I've been disappointed in this team's problem solving in the face of some of that physicality. But like, I don't think that like this is I think this, frankly, dude, this feels kind of new to me. Like this kind of stretch. Yeah, like,
I agree.
I don't know the last time they've had a 20-game stretch where I felt as so disappointed in the consistent effort and focus and more than any of that togetherness from a night-to-night basis. The cohesion just doesn't really feel there right now. So, like, I don't think this is like, oh, here they are. They're failing the test again, because I think this team has passed a lot of tests regarding their toughness. We're just not seeing them pass it right now. And
honestly, what I think this is a situation that is conducive to some of their worst habits.
Yeah.
I think in terms of how shorthanded they've been, the particular ways in which they've been shorthanded, starting the year, lacking a lot of playmaking with no Darius in the lineup, lacking some outside shooting, some of those irrational confidence guys like Max and Sam. I think it's put them in a situation, and even now, one of their foundational things. Jared played 82 games last year. In games where Evan was available, you knew you were going to have at least one of those really good rim protectors and really good defensive players out there at all times. You don't have any of those safety nets right now, and I think what you're seeing is some of the worst habits of a very talented, very good basketball team, which is that when things aren't always going their way, the internal belief and confidence to turn that around within a game hasn't been there. This is a team that, when they're playing with momentum, when the shots are falling, their chest will puff out. They play with more confidence and they play better and better. And we've seen that snowball in matchups against really good teams, positive snowball.
Remember Cavaliers, Justin?
I do. I remember them going. I remember them going blow for blow with OKC last year, right? Like but what we're seeing isn't something we haven't seen before. We've just never seen it, for a prolonged stretch in this kind of way.
Can I note also on top of that, to start the season, starts and ends of seasons, all the games count for the same, but like if this was game 25 to 45, but they had started really well and they finished really well, we'd feel different. you know.
Yeah.
But we just haven't gotten the fun stretch yet with this team, so it's really, really hard to sit and like just sit in it because you don't have any like, you know, it's like you don't have any like resilience built up. It's like just like stepping outside to a freezing cold, lakeside Cleveland kind of day where like the wind just slaps you in the face, and that's just what we've been sitting in like since the season started for the most part.
Yeah, and you know, one of the nice things about when you do get a very extended period of time with a group is you get to, you know, grow up and learn what they're all about along with them, right? Like I think we've seen individual and collective growth from this team the whole time, but this particular issue, you know, that lack of confidence, that not playing the same when you're down as when you're up ahead, you know, whether you want to call that front running or however you want to label that, we have seen that be an issue in the past. And I think that's going to be one of those stories of this season and of this group, right? Because the things that we don't know about this team is, one, can they stay healthy for a run? We haven't seen that yet. And two, is this element, right? Like it's that internal drive, that internal belief that when we're down, when we're down 15 in the third quarter, we still believe that what we can do is going to get us back in this game. That internal belief and confidence and mental fortitude that ends up developing you into a team that feels inevitable, right? This team hasn't done that. When what this team has done is shown that when the faucet's pouring, it's really hard to turn it off. Like when they are playing really, really well, it's tough to beat them. Like that Miami Heat team that they played in the playoffs, I know they weren't very good, but at the same time, like they gave them a good fight in those first two games. Like they had a chance to win that game too in particular, and the Cavs broke their spirit. That was a well-coached team that had been playing really well from the All-Star break on. We had talked about before the series. They had the same net rating, same offense and defense as the Indiana Pacers after the All-Star break. Cavs broke their spirit because of how well they were playing. But then they went up against a Pacers team. Not everything was right. They were down DG. Mobley gets hurt in game one. And all of a sudden, they don't have all of their horses, and the confidence wasn't there. And they ran into a team that maintained their identity at a higher level than the Cavs did. This stretch has been incredibly frustrating, but if what comes from this is that they do build up that internal confidence and that identity, it'll ultimately be for the good. It's just no guarantee that that's going to happen.
Yeah, we don't know. And like, you know, for every 2023, 24 or 24, 25 Pacers, like there's 10 teams that just don't figure it out and flame out, or just have bad years, you know? Like I'm sure the Orlando Magic thought that, all right, it's starting a little rough, but maybe we'll kick up. And it's like, no, they're just going to have a kind of a crappy year all year. And like this Cavs team should have much higher expectations than that, to be fair. But like there are a lot of good teams that just kind of don't have it. Or like you look at like the Mavs team that made the finals, they kind of weren't world beaters during the regular season. They just kind of hung around, won around 50 games, and then got really, really hot. So like you can do it. But like the Cavs aren't showing us that right this second. Justin, I did want to ask, like, assuming that, you know, we're going to have to wait for a bit for Jarrett to come back, assuming that Sam, you know, who's, still not using that hand per reports much during the court work that's at least being observed by the media, knowing that Max is not days away, are you changing up the rotation at all? What are you doing to try to jog them out of this if you're Kenny? I mean, I have some ideas. I don't think any of them are like, I don't think I have any like silver bullets here that are just going to solve everything. But what kind of tweaks are you making if God forbid you suddenly became in charge of the Cleveland Cavaliers?
Yeah, well, if I became in charge of the Cleveland Cavaliers tomorrow, I love this team very much, and I would resign because that would be in everybody's best interest. But no, if It's really, really tricky because, some of the things that we identified are these guys just got to shoot better, right? Like
Yep.
from the outside. Um, that what you mentioned before with Lonzo, just a little bit of a conversation of we can't take these transition threes. We are struggling from the outside. You are struggling in particular. We need to find ways to get better shots. That would be a priority for me because, part of my knee jerk instinct is, hey, Craig's been playing really well. I know he didn't play well tonight, but he's probably been the better guard of the two. But you can't necessarily just give him all of Lonzo's minutes at this point because you are still collecting data, right? Like especially when you're talking about a veteran player that you've invested in here, you want to make sure that you are fully kind of sussing this out and running the experiment as much as possible before you have to, analyze this roster and make decisions at the trade deadline. I think that's important. I do think, in game though, sometimes you might have to go, all right, we are pulling, we're pulling more proven players and we are going with whoever's going to give us energy because Craig has done that. Tyrese Proctor has given us really good minutes as well. And maybe we want to give him a little bit more extended run. When it comes to Naquan Tomlin, I will say this, like I talked about that, DG, nobody else kind of lineup, DG Hunter and Lonzo Naquan, and I forget who else they have out there. But in those lineups, I'm not putting Naquan in the corner. I am having him set screens. I'm trying to replicate some of that rim running that Jarrett does because he gets ignored in the corner. Like there's a reason that the ball is finding him wide open. The unfortunate thing is when we talk about some of the players coming in and players going out of the offseason, as much as people were frustrated with Isaac Okoro in the regular, in the postseason, this is a guy that shot, 37% from three each of the last 3 years.
Sounds
right?
pretty nice.
It's a shooting downgrade when you're going to Lonzo and Naquan, right? Jalen Tyson's shooting the hell out of the ball. That's going to come down. Like he's not going to shoot 49% from three all year.
Yeah, and he wasn't able to make his threes tonight. He went 1 of 3 from distance, and even if you're thrilled with Jalen's shooting, all he's doing is replicating Max's shooting and Sam's shooting that isn't currently available. So like, it's not just like Tyson takes Okoro's minutes and you're good. Right now, it's guys like Lonzo and not even to mention Ty Jerome being a volume 3-point shooter off the dribble. They just don't have that
transition.
Yeah, they don't like those shots that the 2 transition 3-point attempts from Dean and Lonzo that had me, holding my head in my hands were ones I was geeked to see Ty Jerome take last year. So like they just don't have that right now. I think you're spot on about Naquan. I think sometimes he can get into this headspace where he's really trying to fit in and just do the right thing. It's like, Naquan, you're out here because I want you doing stuff. I want you doing stuff because I also think that helps with some of his, comparative lack of reps just on a competitive basketball court to a lot of people. It's a lot easier to just do something than to try to, operate in this liminal space for a guy like Tomlin. So especially with no Jared out there, like why isn't he, running pick and roll, getting downhill, getting into the short roll, using his handle, using his fluidity? I think you're spot on about that. The one player I want to talk about is Thomas Bryant. He was phenomenal in this game. Protected the rim pretty well. Even though the metrics, I think for their defense with Evan off the floor weren't good. I think that's way more a byproduct of the on-ball work from the team. I think when they were in a position to funnel the ball to him, he did a nice job protecting the rim. The energy.
There was also Evan off, Thomas Bryant off minutes that did not go particularly
actually,
well.
Is that true? No, it's not.
So, but
no, they added up to 48 minutes tonight.
Okay.
Bryant played 13. Evan played 35.
I said it with confidence, though, so you didn't have to correct me.
I know. I'm so sorry. But I thought he did a nice job protecting the rim when the defensive shell held up well enough. I thought he was really, really good on offense. Not just because he hit threes, though obviously that's nice, but just deep physical seals that make everyone's lives easier because they take a help defender out of the play because they're trying to dig themselves out of the seal. Gets him in position for some offensive rebounding, even though he didn't get many tonight. He's got good touch around the rim, drew a few fouls, but more than that, he just has played harder than a lot of players on the roster, and he's played nastier certainly than anyone on the roster. And I think especially until Jarrett gets back, he's got to be around the 20-minute mark. And even if that means playing him at the 5 with Evan at the 4 and playing a little bit more jumbo, I think they got to consider it.
I'm okay with that.
Because I think he's been more reliable than Dean, certainly offensively. I think that it allows you to stay big. I think it allows he provides energy and even energizes the guys around him to play harder.
Yeah, he does.
I think he's got to be in the rotation at least for the next couple weeks.
One of the nice things about him too is he's a talker. This, and I know I'm a broken record on this, but this Cavs team has been too quiet on the defensive end, right? Like even someone like Jalen Tyson, I don't see him communicating a whole lot. This team needs to get a whole lot louder on defense because I feel like that's, some of the missing ingredient here. And you're right. I just looked it up on Pivot Fade. Apparently, when Evan was off the floor, they had a 133 defensive rating on the night. So that certainly felt accurate. But I'm with you, man. Like I think Thomas Bryant brings something to the table. And
by the way, because sorry to interrupt, because I know I just monologued, but no,
it's fine.
Bryant being a pretty capable rim protector when the shell holds does allow Evan to do what he does best, which is freelance on defense.
Yeah, and particularly, if we're looking ahead to a matchup like Golden State, where they're not really playing, a traditional big, I think you can kind of play the two big lineup against them, which is counterintuitive. You might be thinking, well, they don't have a lot of size, so why are you going bigger at stretches against them? But the lack of size makes it easier that you can have some minutes where maybe Dean's playing the 5 or whomever, maybe Naquan Tomlin's playing some 5. So you don't have to stagger Evan and Thomas the way that you had to do tonight against Portland, where you needed to have 48 minutes where one of them was on the court at all times.
But I don't think you have to do that anyway. Like you can literally stagger them and give him 8 minutes with Evan. And all of a sudden, Evan's at 32, 33 minutes.
I'm just saying that you're insulated, like in the event of a Thomas Bryant foul trouble or whatever the case may be. Right?
You're not screwed.
Yeah, that was more my point. But, from an off-season calculus standpoint, like who they were counting on to be contributors this year that weren't last year, Thomas Bryant and Jalen Tyson, in my opinion, are hits. I know Jalen Tyson isn't new to the roster, but they were absolutely counting on him playing a larger role. There are still bumps along the road. I think he's got to clean up things on the defensive end and kind of improve his awareness of the court, which has been improving, in order for him to be someone that you can trust in the playoffs, right? Like, what was the old Pat Riley saying where, you have 8 guys active, you play 7 and you trust 6 kind of thing. Like we got to find out where Jalen Tyson slots into that and if he can elevate his game to a point where you do trust him. But I think he's absolutely been a hit. Whereas, Larry's been up and down.
Larry's had a rough go.
Particularly after that knee injury first popped up, I thought that the play really dropped off at that time. And Lonzo has not been panning out to the way that we hoped, right? Like we knew that was a calculated risk and a gamble. It almost hurts me because I love some of the stuff he does, right? Like I think when he comes screaming in and, has active hands on the defensive end, breaks up plays, some of the passing he does, all of that is like stuff that is candy to me. Like I absolutely love it when players play with that kind of IQ, but when the jumper is this far off and he is showing such a willingness to shoot, and particularly in those situations, it really does limit the overall effectiveness. And I thought his second quarter stretch or that first shift that he had was really, really tough, right? Like he was -12 in that stretch and they were -10. like at the half, right?
Yep.
Like I thought that really correlated as much as single game plus minus is a terrible, terrible stat that shouldn't be used.
Yeah. Well, I just, the problem with the 3 is like there's nothing else to really rely on if it's not there.
Yeah.
Because if he's not being guarded right now. So because he's not being guarded, he has no angles to be a brilliant playmaker. He cannot get to the rim and score there. He won't. We're not even really seeing an attempt to do so. And then on the defensive end, it's splash plays or nothing because I don't think the point of attack defense has been good enough.
Yep.
So like, it's in a tough spot right now, and I agree with you. I was really rooting for it, and I mean, you think about that preseason game where he took over for like that 8-minute stretch against Chicago, and you're like, oh man, is this what we're gonna get to have this season? And like,
yep.
There just isn't that right now, and
there's been the odd shift here and there where it's looked really, really good and fun, but
yeah, there's just not enough. And like at this point where the team, the team's dabbling with 500. They're not there yet, but they're dabbling. After another back to back, we'll see where we're at. But like, I just think I'm looking at Craig when I need ball handling, and I'm looking at Tyrese when I need to play on the wing. For at least the short term. In the backcourt, and I do think, by the way, Jalen is really rounding out offensively. I've loved the finishing. The last couple games, I think
some really smart off-ball cuts and stuff too.
Yeah, posterized someone today, which was dope. Sucks we can't be like celebrating that because it's a bad loss. But like. So
honestly, that is disappointing because I thought that was awesome, and like he's coming off the best game of his career against the Pacers, right? Like it's just the unfortunate timing of when we're doing the podcast, and we tend to skew more macro in general, but like man, he was awesome against the Pacers. Like that's a quality performance from him.
Yeah, he's been freaking phenomenal. And it's not just. Like, there was parts of me, especially early in the season, even so obviously he starts the season and it's really rough. And we're like, oh man, maybe it was too much too soon. And then he kicks up and I'm enjoying it. But like, there is this little part in the back of my mind that's like, a lot of this is 3-point percentage. A lot of this is him shooting 60% from 3 for like 5 straight games.
Same thought, yeah.
And like, if he goes through a slump, do we have these same problems again? So seeing him find ways to insulate his game a little bit, where he's had let's see here, he's had 11 2-point field goal makes in the last 2 games. Like, that feels good. That feels safe to me. Like, if he can get a putback, he can make a timely cut, he can score in transition. Like, that stuff is important for him. Because I don't think he's a pure shooter. I just don't think that's who he really is deep down. I think it's great if he has a few seasons in the 40% range, but like he's not Sam Merrill, like from a talent perspective as a shooter. So
I'll say I'd be thrilled with 37.
Yes,
like
30, the rest of his offensive floor,
I'm great with that. Yeah,
the rest of his offensive floor has to raise. The playmaking has, I think, been strong. The smarts has been there. The rebounding, he's got 18 rebounds in his last 2 games. Which I really, really appreciate. So like we're seeing some stuff here. It's just like, man, the rest of everything else is rough. I think it's no surprise, by the way, that Jalen and Evan were the only 2 Cavaliers who had a positive plus minus on the night, because they were the only 2 that really, I think, consistently showed up with the level of attention to detail and focus in their minutes, and frankly, energy. I thought Evan had a great energy game tonight.
I thought so too. Like he was really competing on the glass. Honestly, he's been competing on the boards more and more recently. Like I feel him fighting for possessions even when he doesn't get the board. I know he only had 5 against the Pacers, but I felt like that was kind of more game situation than anything else.
Like 5 fouls in that game.
Yeah. I feel like he's been playing better and better, and I honestly I think the overall health of the offense is trending in a better direction, right? Like it's frustrating
if they're
when
playing
it's not
this,
always rewarded with results, but I do feel like it is trending in a better direction. And I think Evan playing consistently better and someone like Jalen Tyson, who I do think is reliant on a healthy offensive ecosystem to be successful offensively. I don't think he's some sort of self-creation dynamo. I think both of those guys are a positive litmus test for what the overall offense is trending towards. They just got to make some damn shots, man.
Yeah, I to your point, if Max and Sam and Jared are in these games, instead of getting a lot of the minutes that Lonzo and Dean and Naquan and those guys are getting, and like you can also just say, hey, DeAndre, you don't have it tonight. Go take a seat. Like all these sorts of levers to pull. Then I would feel better. This would have
been one where you said Darius, right? Like,
absolutely.
With the way he's shooting, yeah.
Like I think that this probably could very comfortably be a win. I mean, the Blazers took 18 less threes and made one more. So like I do think the process has been generally sharper in the last like week or two, but like again, it's just kind of cold comfort when they're not guarding. You got to guard. You got to guard. You can't give up 39 free throw attempts. I know Denny is a great free throw drawing player. And frankly, the griftiness can be a frustrating thing. A lot of his fouls were drawn earnestly because the Cavs were not.
He does, and his style of play, like he does welcome a lot of contact. Like that's the thing, right? Like it's jumping sideways into Jalen Tyson that I find frustrating, or times where there isn't contact and he goes down. Like he understands the dark arts of foul drawing, but there is also a lot of legitimate contact that he does draw. Like he is a hell of a player, and I feel justified. It was slander at one point, or at least it was taken as slander when I would compare Franz to Denny. But honestly, they are pretty comparable players from an impact standpoint. And honestly, Denny might be having the better year.
He definitely is. He's killing everyone right now. He's averaging 26 points a game, dude. 26, 7, and 6. That's crazy.
And I thought Portland was a good test. Like, I know they're not a good team, but they're also a team that doesn't get blown out. Like, they hang around in every single matchup. They play hard in every single game. I thought that the Cavs were going to have to play a consistent 48 minutes to win this game. Otherwise, they were going to be at risk of losing it. And lo and behold, there you go. Like, it's easy to remember, or it's easy to forget. The one loss OKC has this year was to Portland, right? Like,
yeah,
they can catch you on the wrong night and they can make you work. Obviously, no Drew Holiday. I know Drew played a pivotal role in that one, but they play up and down the roster. They play hard. They play well defensively, and they test you, right? And on a night where the Cavs couldn't buy a three, like, a mediocre 3-point shooting night probably would have been enough to win this one. But they've just played harder. They deserve this win more than the Cavs did. I think that's the bottom line.
Can I say also, I think one of the things that's frustrating about this is I think the Pacers made the Cavs win that game. The Pacers kept coming. They didn't quit. They kept working really, really hard. And I was proud of the Cavs after that Pacers game of like, hey, like that Pacers team kept coming. You had some great stretches of play from them, and you just kept fighting them off, kicking them down, and you came home with a comfortable win. And wasn't the case tonight, brother.
No, and the Cavs, as I said, I don't think that this is a team that's demonstrated that they can flip the switch. So until they prove me wrong, I will continue to believe that. They just gotta turn this thing around, man. Like, if it takes
turn the barge around,
if it takes a week or two to turn this thing around, like, that's just what it's got to be. Right now, I think what you have to drill down on is improving your habits, right? And just because you have good habits in the past doesn't mean a couple weeks of indulgence can undo all of that, right? Like,
yep.
I've certainly fallen victim to that. The Cavs have to continue to build back towards those positive habits, and really use these next few weeks and next month or two to get back on track, to consistently put together 48 minutes of good basketball. And until they do that, every other issue is going to be harder to diagnose, because you have this component of, and they just, as Kenny said, lost their spirit for a part of the game.
And I think next Friday, December 12th at Washington is actually a really important thing, because this team does get 5 full days off due to the in-season tournament. They play this back-to-back Friday and Saturday, and then they have 5 days off. And I do hope that, obviously, guys who are hurt get the rehab they need and the rest they need. But I do hope that the team takes some time to soul search a little bit, figure out who they are. And I don't know if that's stepping away altogether and just coming back with a completely fresh outlook. I don't know if that's spending a bunch of time in the facility together. I don't know if
it's a practice time.
Maybe they go bowling. David Blatt season, baby.
I know that they got a little bit of extended time off. I think it was 3 days with Thanksgiving, but you spend that last day with family for Thanksgiving with the holiday and all that. That's a different animal. Getting this stretch of time, you would hope that they're able to take advantage of that, tend to whatever wounds that they have, get some practice in, and have a refined approach coming out of it. I totally agree with you. How they come out in that game against Washington, even though it's Washington, is going to be important.
Yeah, I think so. So hope they turn it around. This has not been a lot of fun. Ideally they can find a little momentum going into this break, and then really get their feet under them. Yeah,
quality 48 minutes. That should be the goal. And you know what? That's what we're bringing, man.
We just hit brother. I swear to God, we just hit 48 minutes on the record. As you said it. Now that includes the pre-roll, but my God, that was amazing.
I built those habits. I have built those damn habits. I am giving you a consistent 48
That's unbelievable.
Minutes. How about that? Big thanks to everyone that tuned in live on YouTube. We appreciate you guys. Make sure you like and subscribe. Click that notification bell so you know when we're going live. If you're listening via podcast and you want to support us, leave us a rating, leave a review, subscribe, unsubscribe, resubscribe, and help cook those books. If you want to be part of Chase Down's exclusive Discord chat, send a screenshot of the review to chasedownpod@gmail.com. However you choose to support us, we really do appreciate it. Make sure you guys are staying safe out there. Until next time, go Cavs.